As we start to move closer to the post-launch of World Tanks Heat, these are a few things on my wish list that I would like to see in the game, and not really at Season 1 or in a future update, but a few months and years down the line, that I believe will help the overall experience for all the players in the game. The first thing on this list is going to be a prestige system when your tank reaches level 50. Now, this is the cap right now. I could change it, but it'll be nice if we could build upon the ranking system for the tank after you max them out with a camo or a charm or something that makes the tank stand out a little bit from the default tank, so you know that that player has spent a lot of time on that tank. Nothing that takes away from the overall design of the tank. It makes it hard to know what that tank is with a crazy skin or anything. Just something subtle. Another big thing, and this is more of a game balance decision, is being able to pick one backup tank. Now, this is more so for people that get into a bad map, a bad matchup, or a bad game mode that your tank isn't necessarily great in, and it'll be nice to pick a backup tank for you to swap to have a better chance at winning, or at least competing. Now, they could put on a respawn delay where it takes longer to pick your backup tank as like a penalty, but this will be really nice to have in game. Now, I don't know how many people would use this function. This is more so I can watch other people's game, but for there to be a replay system where it's tied to a code or something and you post it somewhere and someone can watch the game with, fast forward, pause, stuff like that. They can pan around the camera and you can kind of see these battles play out. Something cool happens or what you can do to win the battle as a player. A lot of games have this, and it's probably going to be added in the future. Just something not really at the top of our list right now. Now, here's a big topic: no pay to win tanks or commander. Now, this is a wargaming game at the end of the day, and we know how wargaming is with their properties, but I really like the fact that there's not really a way to kind of cheese the game right now with there being a better tank that you can pay money for, or there being better commanders that you can pay money for, that you can hold the advantage. And the advantage right now is just from you having a tank leveled up, you having the map knowledge and tank knowledge and how to play the hero or the tank or whatever. Now, as the game goes on and we get battle passes, because we all know there's going to be a battle pass coming. We'll see how they handle the pay to win aspect. I'm sure it'll be there in some aspect. Hopefully it's not too egregious, but let's see. Personally, I would like more game mode for our next topic. I think capture the flag could be pretty fun. And this goes into the backup tank situation. But as it stands right now, it could also work pretty well without the backup system. You could even have a free-for-all game mode. Search and destroy could also be pretty fun. I'm not sure how that would work in this sense of a game, but they could kind of figure it out. Something like that. Now, this next item is more so of a player accommodation system. So when the game ends, you see the big scoreboard, and we all know it shows the MVPs, first, second, and third. I want to go a step further. If someone on your team played well, you could accommodate them. They could be a little star next to their profile, their gamer tag, or whatever it is, and it would give them a little bit extra points, like extra tech, extra XP, like nothing too crazy, extra credit, just for playing well in that battle. And your teammates think that you played well. Like maybe you pulled off something to help your other teammates finish off someone or win the game or whatever. A small little accommodation system. And you can even track that in the stats somewhere where it would say player accommodations, and maybe you have a pretty high ratio because you do the things in the game that win you the game, more so than going for damage or kills. That would be kind of cool. And this next point is just the pretty easy slot, more maps. I mean, we all know more maps is coming. That doesn't really need to be said. More tank upgrade is something I want to touch up on. I think the module system is pretty good. There are a lot of tanks in the game that don't have a lot of options on their module, and I think this is by design. I think they'll probably add on to it as the game goes on. I'm glad that there isn't a huge selection right now, because you want tanks to kind of fit into a general role. You don't want any tank to be able to do anything with the right modules. You want freedom, but not that much freedom. But yeah, there are a handful of tanks that only have one upgrade, which does kind of suck. So hopefully they add on to that, and more legendaries or epics or whatever to make the tanks feel a lot better for what they're good at. Now, this is a pretty easy drop in and drop out update and marks of excellence system. We have it for World of Tank. They could do something different, or they could stick with the same system where it's just the stripes on the barrel. I would say that instead of you giving marks of excellence for damage, it will be tied towards objectives and how many objectives you do in the tank, how well you do at like doing certain actions, like how much time you spend on the base capture, how much time you spend capturing a base. You can of course track damage and kills, stuff like that. Assist, maybe healing received, damage block could also be a stat. I feel like they should take all those stats into consideration if they're gonna do a marks of excellence system. But it could be in the game. It'll be no harm, no foul. I wouldn't mind. And the last point here is a PVE game mode. Now this is more so for any kind of casual players that want to just hop in and just shoot some stuff, do some PV missions, maybe get some credits. It wouldn't be as much as player versus player because I think that this game needs to focus on the PvP aspect. If they do decide to go a PvE route, there's a lot in here that is kind of staged for that, of how unique and diverse the tanks and the commanders are and how they could interact with you, the shooting bot. But definitely more so lean on the PvP aspect. That's where the game kind of thrives. If they want to do an event or a PvE game mode later down the road, like a year or so down the road, whatever, I'm all for it. I think it's a good idea. Armored Warfare did the same kind of PvE aspect as well, but they leaned it too much into it, and the PvP game kind of suffered. So as long as they don't go that heavy, they should be fine. That's kind of all the points I wanted to touch up on with my wish list for, not exactly for season 1, but for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, whatever, a year or two down the road. We'll see how many of these actually come true. It'd be kind of cool to go back 2 years later and see if I was right about any of the decisions they made, or maybe they do something completely different. Who knows? What are the things down below that you want to see in the game going forward? And we can start a conversation. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.